Hey everyone, it's Tanya.
Hi, it's Erin, and welcome to Wicked Psychotherapists.
Yes, so today we have a really fun one, and we are not stopping our roll with Adam Sandler. We are obsessed. Adam, if you're listening, we are fellow New Englanders. We love you.
Mm-hmm.
We're dedicating like our days to you. So,
Yeah,
all these we're watching all your movies and psychoanalyzing them somewhat.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Having the
reach
family
out.
partake and everyone is going back in time with Adam.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. And it's nice to kind of just get away from the world events with this and just, stuff going on. Um, but yeah, today we're going to be talking about Jack and Jill, which was in 2011. So a little bit closer to, now than before,
Yeah.
little bit after. We're used to talking about the 90s, kind of early 2000 Adam Sandler movies, but this is a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a more
Yeah.
recent one.
Yeah, they actually had internet and cell phones.
Yeah, that was pretty common. Yeah. Yep. We can. Yeah, there's some relation there. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so I had not seen this before. I believe you hadn't seen it before too,
No,
right,
I've
Erin?
never seen it.
I hadn't either. And it was a delightful surprise. I was like, wow, this was, I mean, I knew it would be good because it's Adam Sandler, but I was like, this kind of seems a little wacky, but I was definitely laughing in a lot of places. Um, I loved that Adam Sandler became his own twin, female version of
Mm-hmm.
himself, because there's a storyline based around Jack and Jill, who are fraternal twins. Um, and their interactions together are really interesting. Their personalities and how they interact and the storyline that unfolds
Mm-hmm.
is there's a lot to be said for mental health, but also just it's funny and fun to watch. Um, so yeah, I think uh it kind of starts out with we get an introduction to Jack, played by, well, Jack and Jill are both Adam Sandler, which I
Adam
think
and Adam.
anyone can tell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not it's not like they just like we had talked about like in Waterboy with the really bad wigs for Red and Coach Klein. And so now it's like they're not really trying to pretty up Jill that much.
right, right. Yeah, they just kind of they were letting her be her. Yeah, she was an interesting looking gal. Yeah, Adam Sandler. It's a good thing he was born male. But but that's kind of part of the joke. But we see his life. We're introduced to his life first, Jack, and he's this like high level executive producer or
for
advertising exec,
for
right?
commercials. Yeah,
For
he
commercials,
yeah.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it looks like he directs, like it looks like he's, I don't know if he owns the company because I think his name is on something.
Yeah, it is. It looks like he owns it with someone, and so he's very successful. You see, like he has a very nice home, wife, two kids, things like that. The wife played by Katie Holmes, and yeah, so you kind of see, okay, this guy's got a lot going for him, and then they start talking about the visit with Jill, his
Hmm.
sister, and you can kind of see that Jack is not too thrilled to have her. He's kind of not very excited. Seems like
Hmm.
she's kind of a burden. And his wife, Katie Holmes, I can't remember her name. Is it Elaine
No, I
in
think
the
it's Erin.
Is it Erin? Oh,
Yes.
okay. How did I not remember that? Okay, I thought
You're like,
Elaine.
wait
I
a
don't
minute,
know.
that name sounds familiar. How do I know the name Erin?
Wait. That's
Yeah.
okay, so Erin. All right. So that's easy enough. I should remember that. But yeah, Erin is like, try to be nice to your sister. Like she seems like she kind of understands that Jill is kind of fragile, and
Hmm.
we learned that their mother has just passed away within the past year, and um Jill is still living in the Bronx where I guess they grew up, and Jill was pretty close to the mom. And Jack kind of seems to be in his own world out in LA. He's in
Mhm.
LA, right?
Yep.
LA.
Yeah.
Um and kind of living his life and kind of divorced from it, kind of separate,
Mhm.
from all that. And Jill is just all emotions and unfiltered emotions.
Yeah.
And Jack is kind of more,
Mhm.
business first, and kind of like, let's
Yeah.
act like civilized people, and kind of that type of you have that dichotomy of the two personalities between them. But yeah, when she comes to town, she's flying into LA from the Bronx. You just see right off the bat she's a wild character.
Mhm.
She's wild.
She has
And
50 bags, 50 humongous bags, which should have been an indication to Jack, like, what, you know?
like she's probably staying
Yeah.
longer than
I don't think it's just a
what you
2-day
thought.
visit. Yeah, she doesn't have plans of return.
And she also brings her bird Poopsie, who's like, what is it, a cockatoo or something?
I
Or
think so. I think a
the one that
cockatoo, but
talks?
it's
Yeah.
her best friend. I like how he's like, "You brought the bird?" She's like, "Well, he's my best friend."
My best friend. Yeah, like she's just so like open and authentically herself. Like she's not embarrassed by these things that like some people might kind of, I don't know, maybe try to hide. But she's just kind of like she's just herself.
Mhm.
And yeah, and we start to see tension between with Jack with Jill more. I don't think
Mhm.
Jill has any tension. Jill actually wants to spend more time with Jack and have twin time. She wants
Yeah.
to cuddle with him, and he's like, no, no, I'm a grown man, I'm not getting in that bed." um yeah, and there's a lot of kind of, you can sense that Jack is very distant. He's like, I'm a family man, I'm a grown adult, and she's very much like, I want to have twin time, like it's her. She misses him, and she's like, you pointed out, she's grieving their mom, and
Mhm.
he doesn't actually really bring it up too
No,
much,
he never
and
even mentions her.
yeah.
It's just because this is it, I assume it's probably the first holidays that they've had without the mom, and
Mhm.
so every single thing Jill mentions, like, well, mom said to pack, pack extra. Mom, what about this? Mom said that, every single thing in the movie she brings up to something she learned from her mom or something mom told us, or so she's very much in the forefront of her thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that like she's carrying her with her, kind of like trying to keep her alive. She's thinking about her, and she's still processing probably her grief and that, and she really wants to be close to her brother the way that they were. And Jack is just not having it. He's just not
Mhm.
super into it. He thinks it's weird. He kind of finds her loud and brash and annoying, and the opposite of what he wants to appear as.
Yeah.
Um and you really see that in the Thanksgiving dinner, with uh Erin's in-laws are there, her parents, and then the two kids, and Otto, the homeless man, unhoused person, who is there, that gets invited from the shelter that the mother-in-law works at, I
I
think,
think, yeah, either
right?
worked at or volunteered, and she's like, and we're bringing Otto, which I thought was funny too. Like, they bring Otto. It doesn't look like they really offered Otto a bath or a shower, and just like
Yeah,
he still has like whole
as
leaf
is.
shirts and sweat, whatever's happening, jacket, and it's just kind of funny. It's just like, all right, that's their good deed, helping him.
Yeah. It's kinda like, you kinda see this feeling of, like, there's this, like, yeah, that's our good deed, like, they're very much kinda image conscious of, like, we're
Yeah,
good people because we invited this person back,
yeah.
this is, like, what we do, and then you have Jill is such a contrast to that. She's just loud, says what's on her mind. She, starts whispering at dinner like, is he homeless? He's not whispering
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah,
like,
then
and you
Jack's
can
like,
hear it.
"What are you whispering with a bullhorn?" It's like, "Oh my god," but even the homeless guy Otto, he's like, I don't know, it's probably like not that he appreciates it, but it's probably like, all right, this woman is like not trying to just give me, like attention just because they feel like they have to make themselves a better person. She's just like,
Kind of, yeah, just for their own image. Like this is an authentic person, someone who's just really interacting with me and kind of the way that a person might
right.
feel, like rather than like, oh, we're fine, we're doing everything for you, we're inviting you in for a meal, and then he'll go back to where he goes to.
Yeah, what did they say? So, there was one thing that made me laugh. It was like, yeah, then he'll go back to his home less.
Oh man, and we are not laughing at that. Like clearly we're not laughing at that situation for anyone. It's just the way it was in the movie.
Yeah.
So please don't mistake that.
Yes.
But it's just the movie is just ridiculous but hilarious. Yeah, and then I love how, Jill really wants to sit next to Jack, and she's like, the mother-in-law is in the seat next to him. She's like, but that's my seat. Why would you be in my seat? And and the mother-in-law's like, oh, I can get up, just trying to be polite and like very image conscious, like civility, and she's like, oh, well, do you want to sit there? And then she's like, I don't know. She's just like, you're putting me in an awkward spot.
Yeah. But it's also interesting too, because like you could see the power with the mother, with Erin's mom, like where she's like, she didn't want to move.
Yeah.
And did she know that that's where Jill usually sits? Because she's probably been to Thanksgiving dinners there before. So it's interesting that it's interesting that she chose that spot instead of sitting next to her daughter. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows? Like, maybe it was kind of a power move. Yeah, like it was kind of like I'm closer to the head of the table or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and like kind of like, oh well, Jill can just find a spot wherever, kind of thing. But yeah, and Jill is just like, okay, I'll go sit over here, and then starts whispering with a bullhorn, and yeah, you just start to realize that Jill is the exact opposite of Jack. She's very unfiltered. She's very much just says whatever comes to mind. She has very kind of loud, brash fashion sense, and like that's her personality as well too.
And her emotions are very much there, where Jack is a little more filtered and like reserved and image conscious, because everything is like, okay, I have to think of how this is going to affect my business and the people I serve, so he probably carries that at home, where Jill is just like, like all of her emotions. Anytime she's upset, she runs away, which is
and cries.
which might be something that is learned behavior in the past. Maybe she was rewarded from that with her mom, or so, like who knows what roles the twins had growing up. But
or maybe it could have been that maybe she never really got any. I mean, I don't know with the mom, but maybe she never got that kind of attention back from her brother, because they see when they're growing up, like she's always kind of trying to like get his attention and be like near his prom date and like hit the date with the tennis ball, and like she kind of just wants his attention, and so I think she kind of never really got that from him, and she's like, well, I'm just gonna almost throw like a tantrum, like you can't, like you have to pay attention to that maybe, but yeah, it could be, it's maybe, and maybe it's both, a blend of both of that dynamic. But yeah, she definitely is very big emotions and kind of dysregulated, but you sense that it's kind of like, she really is, there's hurt behind that, with probably her mom probably feeling not close to her brother when she really wants to feel close, feeling alone now because she's alone back in the Bronx, and um and she also has indicated she doesn't have like a partner, she's in her 40s and doesn't have any kids or anything, so she's very alone, and
she's never been in love,
lonely.
never. And that was like a part where you see Jack almost having a human connection with his sister when she starts talking about that she's never had a relationship, never been in love, never, because it's everyone always was attracted to Jack,
Yeah.
so that's when they start making that eHarmony or whatever they end up doing, like the soulmate thing. And at first he's like, ah, ha, ha, but then when he sees her for the mascara running and she's just laying on her bed, hugging her bird, because she cried herself to sleep because nobody
Aw.
wanted to date her. So he's like, all right, let me do this on Craigslist, just to find someone to date her.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Get
in
someone
a
there.
malicious way just because he's like, all right, let me just put all these things that aren't really true, but I just want somebody to connect with her. I mean, that
Yeah.
was kind of a, like a brotherly thing that it had some, some love with it. He was trying to be kind, not in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a sense, because he also wanted her to leave his house eventually.
Yeah. And like kind of not to deal with her emotions, right? Like
Yeah.
the emotions are too big for him. He gets very uncomfortable around it. And he like kind of just wants it to stop. Yeah. So it is kind of selfish, but it also is kind of caring. And he's like, oh, well, she's a knockout. And they show when she got knocked out from the wheel, he's like taking like, he's like, well, I'm kind of stretching, semantics. I'm stretching the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she gets some attention. The guy is not, she goes out on a date and the guy is just kind of runs away from her and
he's like
hides on the
ceiling.
ceiling.
Norm McDonald. Yeah.
It's like I can't be around her.
Which I don't know why
she is
he
eccentric.
didn't, like, why did he even, like, because as soon as he saw her, he's like, wait a minute. This is, but I'm thinking, like, he saw the picture because it directed him to the dating website. So he saw the picture of her eating the sandwich.
I wonder if he maybe didn't even check. Maybe he just saw that and was just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like maybe he just was like, oh, this sounds nice. I'll just give her a call. Like maybe he didn't really check it that close or something.
He's like, oh, wait a minute. It's Adam Sandler in a dress. No,
yeah. And she's talking about like, she's like, well, I mean, I do want kids. So maybe if this date goes well, maybe we got to hurry. Like she kind of scared the crap out of him on the first date.
He's like, here's this ugly woman and wanting to have children with me. Yeah.
Like just maybe on the first date. Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually, I was surprised he didn't just kind of like walk out. Like, why did he actually go to the bathroom and try to hide?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Like why didn't he leave? What was he planning on staying there for hours on the ceiling?
Yeah,
like Spider-Man
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that just made it funnier because he was like so terrified. He was like hiding on the ceiling. But
yeah.
That's us overanalyzing it, but I mean, still, yeah, we have to, you know how we are, people, but, yeah, and then she, ends up, then there's she meets Al Pacino at the game, right, at the basketball game, and, this is something that Jack has been, the company was giving him pressure to get Al Pacino to be in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial because they wanted it to be like a Dunkaccino or cappuccino. Like there's all these like
Al
puns.
not Al Pacino, Al Cappuccino or something.
Al Dunkaccino, whatever, mochaccino, or I guess there's like a million of them, but
yeah.
And so he's like, oh, this is perfect. And immediately Al Pacino just takes like he's hanging out with Johnny Depp, which I loved. And he's like, what, Al Pacino's like in disguise because he doesn't want to be recognized. He's like, what is this? You're supposed to be like my rabbi or something?
Yeah.
Like what's going on here?
Yeah. Then I liked it when Adam and Johnny Depp were roasting Al Pacino. He's like, oh, I thought he looked like Bin Laden, or then they're just like making fun of it, like right in
like,
front.
I thought more Castro.
And then Tanya and I noted when we were talking before when we were pre-gaming that Johnny Depp. So we get to have the connections. I know he only made a short cameo, but so there is a connection. So
many episodes.
There is a connection with Johnny Depp too.
Yeah, who knew? We had that obsession going, and in our Adam Sandler, there's these worlds colliding. Our obsessions are colliding.
Yes,
so.
we just don't have Winona or Cher jumping in, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Cher. Yeah, Winona. Yeah. But
But it
all of
was,
our obsessions.
but yeah, I
But
thought it was really funny. Like, of all the people, like Al Al Pacino is like becomes obsessed with her.
he's like in love with it, love at first sight. Sends her over that hot dog with like his name and
Call
or his
me.
number and ketchup. And then like Jack is like, yeah, this is his opera. He thinks it's his in to get him to do the
Yeah.
commercial, and she's just like, I don't know. I've never, like she says
I've
to him,
never
I
even
haven't
heard
seen
of.
many of your movies. Like
I've never heard
she's
of
not
you.
impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she yeah, and so I guess, when she does go out on um or no, she doesn't. She avoids him, right? It's when it's at the birthday party that he's like just hiding in the closet and is like,
Yeah.
"Hey, come on a date with me to Europe,"
Yeah.
or oh wait, no, I'm confusing that. Or just come on a date with me to my house, and he has like
Yeah.
like an array of cakes for her, and she's
Yeah.
like in love with the cakes because she gets her own cake and
Yeah.
everything.
She's like, this is great. That's all I wanted.
She feels like special, and then he's like, "Oh, I want you to hit the stick ball because like that's the
The big
Bronx
Bronx
connection."
thing. Yeah.
And
She's like, what? This isn't me. I don't play this. I think you're trying, because he's trying to relive his youth and childhood, thinking like, okay, well, there's this connection because we grew up in the same place. She's still there.
mm-hmm.
But she's like, I never played stickball.
Yeah, she's like, "What is this?" Like, she doesn't even know what it is. She's like so out of touch. She doesn't know like what anything is. When he talks about the Man of La Mancha, she's like, "Oh, the one with the hunchback, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame." She's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Like, she gets it so mixed up, everything like
Yeah.
so foolishly. But yeah, like, and then I think she breaks like his Oscar or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you have
we have
another one." And
more.
he's like, "No, I should, but no." Like kind of like a little slight there. Um but yeah, and he's just like in love with her, and she's just like, I think, when he starts like put his hands on like the stick and be like trying to like kind of flirt with her and I don't know, be weird, and she's like, I think I know what you're doing and it's gross. Like it just like wants to get away from him.
Yeah. She's like, I do not want to kiss you. Get away from me.
Yeah, she's not into him, which is like so funny because you wouldn't picture that, but
Yeah.
yeah, and in that, I think that's really interesting with Jill because she is authentically, I think, herself. Like she's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't find him, even though like the world admires him, like I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Like even though I know like he's this huge star, I'm not into him because of that. I want to feel like I like someone
Mm-hmm.
and really are, connecting with them. And he's just kind of obsessed with me, and she finds it weird, and she's not into the whole image thing, which Jack really wants her to be so
Yeah.
he can, do the
Yeah.
commercial
And that is
everything.
interesting too, because Jack is seems so starstruck, and like his whole everything revolves around that. And Jill isn't. She doesn't even know movies. Like when they're talking about It's a Wonderful Life, and she's like, no, the other one with Jimmy Stewart. The other, she's describing the entire movie, and they're like, A
Like the
Wonderful Life.
exact way. They're like, it's one. She's like, why do you keep saying that?
No. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, she's just silly about. She doesn't know movies. Her movie trivia is very off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you really kind of see there's a huge difference there, and you really, and you see Jack getting upset at her when she kind of refuses Al Pacino because he's like, oh, that ruins my chances, but he's like not taking her feelings into account and how she feels.
Yeah.
And yeah, then she kind of disappears and wants to go home, and he's like, oh, and he ends up talking to Al Pacino, and Al Pacino basically kind of is like, I'll do the commercial if like I can get with your sister kind of thing, which is kind of gross. Kind of, you lost some points there, Al Pacino. But yeah, and so Jack invites her on the European cruise that he didn't want her on, but feels like, okay, I can get her to go on a date, convince her to go on a date, so I can, because he really wants Al Pacino to do the Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Because it's a make or break for his career. So Jack is right now. It's again so polar opposite of his sister. He's thinking more in terms of what can help me financially and career-wise, where Jill is so led by her heart and
Mhm.
family and emotion. And, it is very interesting too. Like, so it's like these sibling dynamics, but it's also showing like what is, what drives them. What's the driver for both of them?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting when they show them growing up, and it seems like Jack does have more of the opportunities. Like, he kind of is more attractive to his peers, and he's less socially awkward, and that sets him up to kind of be like, these are the important values, whereas Jill is kind of more of an outcast, and I think she really focuses on the things that are really kind of, like you have good connections with, and
Mm-hmm.
you would be able to say like, hey, this is something that's actually genuinely important,
Mm-hmm.
that you would, like, yeah, like family, and being nice to people, being kind to people, even though she doesn't have a filter. That's just kind of her personality.
Yeah.
She's not trying to be unkind.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
just the
she's
way
not
she
hiding
thinks.
anything. She's not a phony. She's authentic,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is again really opposite of everything that Jack, surrounds himself with. So if he's with a
Right.
bunch of actors or Hollywood people or anything, a lot of them are probably
Yeah.
not being their true self. And it's different than just living in the Bronx, probably living in the same house you've lived in your whole life. And, just,
Hmm.
I'm skipping around, but even when she goes to eat with Felipe's family, and she's like, "Oh, well, I don't know. I've never had Mexican because I don't serve it at my deli." So she's probably only ever, she probably just like her little bubble is like
Yeah.
whatever is in her neighborhood. So she's not
Yeah.
really exposing herself. Not because she doesn't want to, but just because it's not there. This is who, I've always gone to this deli. I know the people, and it's probably just comfort for her.
And she wasn't really given the opportunity because people didn't really accept her, and so she kind of had to find her own place, like with her mom in her hometown, and with Jack, he was worshipped by these people, so he went to a place where he could be kind of worshipped and be in that world,
Right.
and so it actually kind of turned out um to be something that worked against him in the end.
Right.
Um and yeah, I totally agree though. When she does go to Felipe's family picnic, it is really interesting because you see her genuinely happy and enjoying herself, and the family's like just think she's great, and
Yeah, except the
she
grandma.
can. Oh yeah, the girl, because she keeps whacking her in the head, and they have to keep waking her up with the jalapenos
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
pinata and
That was when I
the
was
shoe
shocked. I was telling you, I was shocked it wasn't Steve Buscemi, but it was some other person.
with the googly eyes.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
seemed like that, but it's funny.
yeah,
But yeah, it was
yeah.
nice
That
to
was
see
pretty
her.
funny.
It was nice to see her be herself, be her like obnoxious or loud or whatever self, and everybody in the family was like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome. We love this. We accept this."
Yeah, they appreciated her. They appreciated like all her traits, and they really thought she was great, and she had a good time there, and so um
Yeah,
yeah, and he seemed to really like her too. He was,
yeah.
even when she had the chimichanga bombs or whatever at the end.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting too, like even when they're playing soccer, here she, because she's always such a clumsy buffoon, like, with the jet ski, with the stickball, with everything. Like, it's just like, oh my God, what is she going to break? Or so, but this, she's like playing soccer perfectly. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like it took her
She's
a
like a
minute.
pro.
Took her a minute. She had to hit grandma in the head with her shoe at first, but then it's like, let me get this.
Yeah, she did real good. She was like a yeah, it's like a Ronaldo out there. She was just running up and down the field, and they loved her, and they picked her up, and one of the cousins is like peeps under, and he's like, "Told you, nope, it's really a girl, it's not a guy," like they bet on it. But yeah, and so you see there's like an authentic connection there, but Jack keeps wanting to force,
Hmm.
the connection with Al Pacino for his own like career and
Yeah.
financial gain. But yeah, you just see that kind of setup, and then um when Al Pacino wants a date with her when they're on the cruise. He's like, "Oh crap, like, she's not gonna do it." So he ends up dressing up as her because
Mhm.
that literally is
Him.
her. But
It's not
but
it's like, "Wait a minute, they look so much alike now. Oh, wait, it's the same actor playing the same person."
yeah,
Just
I kind of
yeah.
forgot that for a minute. I
Did
was like,
you?
"Oh yeah,
Yeah, it
it's the
is
first
Adam.
one." Yeah. I was like he came out and I was like, "Yeah, that's yeah, yeah." And then yeah, and then she goes on she climbs up the ladder on the helicopter. Oh my god, that looks so scary. And they whisk her off to or he whisks her off to a date in Europe and Al Pacino kind of really starts to, like kind of let his feelings out and say he
Yeah.
really likes her and she's like, "But what do you like about me?" And this is Jack asking this like, "Why? You could have any girl in the world."
Yeah.
And he's like, "'Cause you're just like basically like you're authentic. You're you. You're
Yeah.
you're
You
like
remind
this
me of the Bronx.
yeah, like that's the time like, something special to him. He's just so attracted to it and just her realness and her authenticity, her kindness and
Mhm.
her love for people. And and then he says like, Jack is a sycophant, like he just kisses butt. He's
Yeah.
a hack, and so then I think Jack really starts to see like, oh wait, he starts to
Yeah.
see kind of some of that from Al
Yeah.
Pacino, some of the crap he
Yeah.
dished out.
You know something else about Al Pacino? Um, you know what I liked? I thought it was so funny. Every single time, because Al Pacino was in The Godfather and all these other Italian type of movies and whatever, and the, every time he was talking Italian, the the they would make for the words they translate it as "garply goopy goppy boop" because he's probably not speaking real Italian. It's just like made up gibberish.
No, that was the joke. Yeah, he wasn't
Yeah,
in the French and everything because he
yeah,
was like, "Sir, I don't understand you.
yeah, just like
Like you're
"garbly
not
goopy
speaking
goopy
anything."
doop.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't he literally wasn't speaking French or Spanish or
Italian. It's
Italian.
so
He was
funny.
just like yeah, and he was like, "Oh, okay, like you're not speaking it." He just thinks he's speaking it, and they're just like, "Okay, they oblige or whatever." Yeah. Because yeah, the French guy even says to him, "I don't understand what you're saying. You're not speaking French."
You're not speaking. You're not speaking any language.
Yeah, like what is that?
It's so
But
funny.
Al Pacino just in his world is like, yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
speaking it,
know. Yeah, I pretended to do this in a couple of my roles. I know what I'm doing.
Oh my god, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that, then of course Jack realizes the error of his ways after they get into a knockdown drag out fight, which is just
Yeah,
weird and hilarious because it just makes Al Pacino more attracted to her.
right.
And then yeah, towards the end we see that Adam wants to make things right because he sees that, oh well, Jill is the real deal and she just wants
Mhm.
family and that's what's important, not this commercial. And so it's
Yeah.
kind of that standard ending, but of course in a funny way with Adam Sandler and all
Yeah.
his gang at the
Yeah, and
end.
that was nice too because we've talked in the other Adam Sandler movies. So this is also, about the movie, but also probably about Adam Sandler as a person, like how important family and friends are to him, like it probably in real
Yeah.
life, because he always has the same troop. I mean, like it's, from, even John McEnroe is in the movie where we saw him in Mr. Deeds. And then, of course, everybody at the table is just, like the usual suspects, like David Spade as like ugly Monica who thinks she's so beautiful.
It's
And
like the Jersey Shore, like
yeah,
typical, like
yeah. And
yeah.
I could not figure out who Dana Carvey was in the movie. I know he was in
He
the
was
movie.
the puppet guy at the beginning with the orange hair, the
Oh,
one that was like in the Pepto Bismol commercial with
yeah. Oh
Regis
my
Philbin.
gosh. And he's like, I have to be at Sesame Street soon. Yeah. It's
That was actually Regis Philbin's last
before
movie
he died.
appearance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is like I can't believe he died that long ago because that was in 2011.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he just kind of had all his gang there, and it was just funny the way then Jill fights uh David Spade, whatever her name,
Monica.
Ugly Monica, and tries and fends her off of Katie Holmes because, of course, Monica's like, I dumped him, and then gets mad and attacks
Yeah.
Erin, and is like, she's like, what the hell? Like, what do I do? But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then Al Pacino comes in and as Man of La Mancha and is like, I am not your true knight. And he sees that what's best for
Yeah.
her. And of course,
And she
yeah,
has
we
no
see that.
idea who he is because she has no idea anything about movies or plays.
Yeah, she's just like, what are you doing? Like,
Who are you? Are you a hobbit?
he
What's...
attacks the fan, and he's like, "That's a fan," and he's like, "No, it's this device." But yeah, and then we see the happy ending with it is of course Felipe and his kids, which
Mhm.
is just the natural connection, and that's who Jill ends up with, and so that's and I guess Al Pacino ends up doing the commercial at the end. We see him viewing it, and he's like, "This must never be seen." But
Yeah.
I loved the commercial. I thought it was amazing.
Come on, Dunkin' Donuts, release the commercial. Yeah. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great movie. I think I think that I think that it was one of those movies I didn't see of Adam Sandler's, but I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad
Yeah,
that
I don't
we
know
were able
why.
to see
I
it.
don't know if I was like, "Oh my god, this looks so dumb." And but it was really funny. It was dumb, but it was really funny. And it did talk, I mean, it did have some psychological things. I mean, like we talk about, the grief of the mother, like, and like being stuck and family, sibling relationships, just identities,
Mhm.
there's a lot of different
Yeah.
things. I mean, and then we get to have our fandom with Adam Sandler.
Yes. And Johnny Depp continues the circle and all the celebrities that were in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just good stuff and all his gang. It's just all around. I recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go for it because I think that was kind of one of his lesser known movies, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was, I've never seen it. But I
Yeah.
think, and it was really funny. And what I like about Adam, like he's very juvenile, but I do like that it's like there's usually really laugh out loud stuff because I watched it with the kids and my husband last night, and kids were loving it. They love Adam Sandler. We're on the Adam Sandler fan club here.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Adam Sandler is pretty amazing and we're always going to have Adam Sandler probably connect somehow in some of our episodes, if not most of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a few that we won't do because Tanya doesn't like comedy romance, so we'll have to find other.
Do not like rom-coms. I probably would make an exception though for like 50 First Dates. I'm not like
that one.
I could probably make an exception.
Yeah, I don't know. That one just drives me insane. I am not a big 50 First Date. I've seen it a few times. I'm like, ugh. I don't know if it's Drew Barrymore or what. It probably is. I don't know. Or it's just like I feel like the movie's too long. Something about it. It's like, all right, she doesn't have her memory. She has her memory now. All right. Just stop trying to force it.
The chemistry is just off too.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. I don't know. I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would like. There's some that like Adam Sandler made with Jennifer Aniston, like the Netflix ones. Those are like
those are really good. I would say maybe we should do one of those.
Are those rom-coms or are those like mystery thriller kind of rom-coms?
I don't know. They're really good.
There's a little bit of like rom-com in there. Like I did watch those and I thought those were funny. Like they're kind of comedy, a little bit of rom, a little bit of like thriller. Like I would do those.
Yeah, the murder mystery. I think there's like one or two, and
I think there's a new one coming out soon too. I think I read.
Yeah, those
somewhere.
are good. I would say that. There's some other. There's a bunch. I mean, there's looking at the list. There's like 1 million of his movies. There's probably a couple that we might be like, this is just too dumb. We're not going to do this. But there's some.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to come to our fun question, which I just thought of because this is how they all work. So this really has nothing to do with the movie, just maybe a little bit, but the coffee debate. And remember, you're a New Englander.
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Oh, Dunkin' Donuts all the way. I actually the only way I can tolerate Starbucks is if I get one of those flavored drinks, which is so, I'm like, ugh. So you're basically like, only Starbucks I like is like the white chocolate mocha, but I can have just a Dunkin', just cream and sugar or milk and sugar, like you don't have to do, or just black, because it's not gross. I feel like Starbucks tastes like burnt coffee.
See, I feel I am a betrayal to New England.
Oh, Tanya.
I'm not a Starbucks person, but I will choose Starbucks over Dunkin' Donuts. And it's because I had like 2 bad experiences in a row with Dunkin' Donuts where I got really sick off of it. And I don't know what it was, but I just was like turned off from it.
Yeah, that would do it to me too. Like if I was throwing up. Yeah, because there's a couple Dunkin' Donuts where I live that I won't get because they don't understand if you just say milk and sugar or whatever.
Yeah.
If they'll put like 50 in, but there's some that understand, because like when you're in New England, you could say like I want a regular, and they'll know how to put the cream and sugar in. Here, you can't say regular because they'll be like, huh, what? But they should
like, what do you mean regular?
They should train. They should really train everybody what a regular is. So, but there's a couple that if you just say milk and sugar or cream and sugar, they do like the, 3 scoops or whatever it's supposed to be. And because I worked at Honeydew and something else when I was younger, so I understand.
Honeydew, yeah.
Shaken, not stirred.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, but Starbucks, I do like the consistency. So that's one thing I do like better if you're out of New England, is the consistency with Starbucks. Because I did, I have the one Dunkin' that I go to because I know it's going to be consistent. But other ones, I'm like, I don't want to go to that one. So if I'm at other places, it will be Starbucks, because just I want my coffee made correct. I'm such a jerk.
Right. But no, that's the way I feel too. And the feeling of like that you're not going to get poisoned and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I have like I usually actually make my coffee like almost 98% of the time at home. Like it's only if I'm like away at like something, like I don't know, whatever. Yeah. And if there's a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks and that's the only options, I'll usually go to Starbucks because of the consistency.
Drink it this morning because I have a Dunkin'.
And you get Well, there we go. That's right in line. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough one because I want to say Dunkin' Donuts, but I just can't with the bad experiences I've had.
I mean, if there was Honeydew here, I would pick Honeydew over Dunkin' Donuts. Just because
Honeydew has good coffee.
Honeydew just knows how to make the coffee, and I think it is the shaken, not stirred. Especially if you get iced, they'll pour it in the 2 different cups. And it's just
that's a good flavor. Yeah,
it is just, I don't know, just something about it. But
or like I know this isn't really New England. This is more like I think it's originally Canadian. Tim Hortons actually has some really good.
I heard
coffee,
I've never had a Tim Hortons. I heard they're really good.
It's pretty good, yeah. Like I wouldn't say I'm like obsessed with it, but I honestly the coffee I like the best, and this is just simply because I know what I like, is the one I make at home. And I know like I grind it fresh, and I know what coffee beans I like, you know what I mean? And that's the one I like the best because I just know that. Like I'm just at that age.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel.
I used to be a coffee snob because I used to work at a couple coffee places. I worked at Dunkin'. And I worked at like another. I worked at another couple coffee places in Rhode Island, and then Honeydew for a little bit, and then so it's like I used to only drink French roast because of the or dark, like because that was what it was like newer, and I was like, okay, the darker the roast, the higher the caffeine. But yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was the lighter the roast, the higher the caffeine.
Mm-mm. No, I think it's the opposite, unless I'm insane. But no, I think the darker the roast, it's like it's more caffeine intake. Lighter roast, it's like less. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's the other way around.
Really?
Because I like because it's like the more blonde, like I don't remember how I know this, but something is sticking in my head saying it's the lighter roast.
Oh, maybe. I mean, but I used to always like darker roast better.
Maybe it like wasn't. Maybe that's just now. Maybe like when they first came out with. I don't know. Like maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
No, you're
maybe I'm just
right.
talking out of my
Oh my
butt.
gosh,
I
you're
don't
right.
know.
Maybe I was taught wrong.
It maybe there was something with like the dark roast that you had that they were like extra caffeinated. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, because
Like
they would always
so that
say it.
probably was.
Yeah, so maybe they
Yeah.
lied.
I mean, either that or they could have maybe they like added something in there. So maybe
Yeah.
that's probably what it was.
Yeah,
Because
and it's supposed to
I
be
used to think
healthier.
the
It's
same
supposed to be
thing.
healthier too. Dark roast. That
The
is.
dark roast is definitely better for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's confusing because I think there used to be more things added in and probably like, yeah, the advertising. Like, cause I had it in my brain too. Like that, like dark roast more like is more caffeine. And I
Yeah.
think that's because of the advertising, but I looked it up or somebody told me something. Oh, it was one of my friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Uh
here's something. It's like
yeah.
while a common misconception is that dark roast coffee has more caffeine, the actual coffee content per bean is quite similar across the different roasts. Interesting. Like, yeah.
Oh, so none of them are so
Yeah.
they're all
So it
pretty
says
the
light
same.
versus dark. The roasting process differs, but the flavor profile, but it doesn't impact the caffeine. So it's the same. Dark or roast, dark
Oh,
or light. So everybody, you learned something. Don't
we've
waste your
all been
money
lied
on
to.
different coffee unless you like
Don't
it for the
do it.
taste. It's just the
Don't do
same.
it.
It's the same caffeine. Who knew?
We've all learned a big lesson here.
Yeah,
Well,
because
it's strange because I like the flavor of the darker roast better.
yeah,
Like, I don't like light roast, but I'm
yeah,
wondering if like, I think light roast is not very popular. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in this, and I think maybe that's a selling point. Maybe they
yeah,
try to be like, "Oh, there's more caffeine in it."
yeah.
Like, you get
Because
more
some of the
I
light
don't know.
roast is like it's better on your stomach and stuff. But
Mhm. Mhm.
but I don't know. That's funny. Yeah, I used to always think it was like I
It's
don't know.
weird.
Who knew?
Well, I thought the lighter roasts were, so I don't know. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just been advertised that way. I
Yeah, I don't
learn
know.
something new every day,
And
and we'll probably forget it the next time
yeah,
too,
we
but
will. I mean,
we
like,
learned it today. That's all that matters.
we are teaching you guys something. And you're hearing it live or recorded live. That
Recorded live, yeah.
even though Erin worked at a lot of different coffee places in her journey of finding herself, she does
And I
not know that.
drink a lot of coffee, and
Yeah,
so I should know that too. So
yeah. All I know is Honeydew has good coffee. That's all.
they do. They definitely do. Yeah, for sure. I think so. Yeah.
Come on, Honeydew, come to Florida.
Um. Yes. Oh my God. I don't see many honeydews around in Western Mass where I
Really?
am, but yeah,
Just
there's definitely some.
closer to the Rhode Island
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, and yeah, kind of the southeast part. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
Attleboro or whatever.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yep. That's right around where I went to school. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, let us know what you think about coffee and what you know or didn't know because we clearly were all mixed up, but
Yeah,
now I think we've set the record straight. So
yeah. It's
um
Starbucks, and Dunkin
yeah.
for But that's so
Do
funny
you
though.
have sorry,
No, what
go
were we
ahead.
gonna say?
I was gonna say, do you have like a favorite like type of coffee like that you get a lot? Like if you like make it at home kind of thing?
Honestly, I usually get Starbucks. I usually,
Starbucks? Yeah.
yeah,
No,
if
that's
I'm
good in the
if
bag.
I'm picking
Yeah.
myself, I'll get Starbucks because I don't have a grinder. So I'll just get. I do like because then I can make it as dark or I don't know because I always feel like sometimes I feel like Starbucks they burn their coffee. Like if you're just getting the regular like just a cup of coffee, I feel like they keep it on the thing too long and it tastes
They
burnt.
probably do, yeah, because they have to, like, go through they have to, like, make it they probably just have to keep it
Yeah,
heated, yeah.
yeah, and that's
I'm pretty sure most people that work at Starbucks, if they're hearing this, and I think I've heard that because I have a friend that she used to work at Starbucks, and she would say a lot of things
yeah because
and some other yeah.
I know again my past history. It's like you don't like you have to keep it on the warmer, and then you only keep it on the warmer for so long, otherwise it will burn, and then it'll affect. And then
Right.
you have to clean it, clean the pot with the vinegar or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but sometimes like that's
Yeah.
why sometimes I'll have to get like the espresso. I get like the espresso drink, so I'm like, it won't taste burnt. But then sometimes I'm like, I just want a cup of coffee, like a regular coffee. I don't want a flavored crappy thing. But I just but then it always tastes burnt, and I'm like, foiled again.
I like the the Pike's Roast or whatever, like that one is pretty good at Starbucks. It's a pretty
Yeah.
standard one. And I think that it's probably just like I got a batch that wasn't burnt yet or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that I mean, I do not go often at all. Like I usually always drink at
But you
home,
would
but
think like they always have a big line. Why do they have burnt coffee? I don't know.
I think Starbucks, I'm not going to get into this, but I think it was the marketing of Starbucks of like how effective it was that like this is where you get coffee. This is where you get like, you know, if you want standardized coffee, you can make it your way. And there's all these like new drinks that they bring in
Yeah.
at times or like new combinations, and it's just kind of like it's in like the American psyche, and honestly it's all over the world, really. I don't know if they have the same level of importance in other countries, but certainly in the United States they do.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of the psyche of it.
Yeah.
And that was definitely established in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I think it just has stuck, you know.
Yeah.
But I really don't that's just my own opinion. I don't really know anything, so don't ever listen to me as anything factual, but that's just my own that's just my own thoughts.
Yeah.
Glad you're listening, and I'm saying like I don't really know anything. But it's the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, all right, let's close this out.
Wrap
But let
it
us
up.
know
Yeah.
all of your thoughts on any of this, coffee included,
Adam,
you know, whatever.
Coffee, Jimmy, not Jimmy Buffett. What was I going to say? Johnny Depp. It's good.
Jimmy Buffett. If you want to let us know about Jimmy Buffett, go for it.
What's wrong with me?
We're all over it's Monday. It's Monday. People, I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but we filmed this in Monday morning into like right around lunch, you know, 10 to 2 kind of thing. And usually, and that's, it's a time.
Yeah.
So
we're hungry.
Yeah. We're hungry. We're tired. We work around clients and our minds are just all over the place. But anyways, we hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. We're on everything, including YouTube. Write us a review, refer us, tell a friend, tell an enemy, whatever you got to do. Get the word out and give us a 5-star review. We'd love that.
Share it.
Yeah. And don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well. All right. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.